Aloha. My name is Ruben Azizian, and I'm a professor at the Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies. I've been at the center for 11 years, and I am always excited about doing new things for the course and for the center. And this is another very innovative approach to course teaching that I'm very proud to be part of. I would like to welcome the incoming fellows of the Asia Pacific Center course on Advanced Security Cooperation 2013-1 and be part of this scene setter through video recording that I'd like to address you. So why are we doing this video presentation? It's not just that we want to show off the technology that we have, and hopefully when you come here you will appreciate the state-of-art technology at the center, which is all there to facilitate our education. But it is, I think, more importantly, an opportunity to start our joint education and bonding even before you come here. APCSS is very much about executive education. It's about learning from each other. It's about networking. It's about building relationships. So the sooner we start that doing, the better for us and for the outcome. And therefore, this scene setter is really about message letting you know that we are looking forward to this very interactive opportunity of the course, but also we'd like to share with you some of the conceptual frameworks for the course. So the topic of my presentation today is on global and regional security governance. We take security cooperation very seriously, and the course is, after all, titled Advanced Security Cooperation. But what is the security cooperation for? We would like to offer you an opportunity here to talk about how can we do better in terms of building a global and regional security architecture that will be conducive to building peace, prosperity, and security, to cooperating with each other, and building a new future for the region and for the world. My scene-setting presentation has 4 parts. So today I'd like to talk about the complex security environment in the world and in the region, and look at some of the challenges and opportunities of shaping a security governance for the region and for the world. Next week, unless you send protest messages to the center about the first stage of our conversation, I'll offer you some insights and some perspectives on the global governance issues, the role of the United Nations and other specialized agencies in terms of shaping the global governance. Our third meeting will focus specifically on the regional security architecture in the Asia Pacific. We'll look at different institutions, the key actors, the rules and principles that are being shaped in the Asia Pacific. And in the last presentation, part 4 of this overall scene setter, we'll talk about some of the issues and challenges of the regional security architecture, primarily dealing with rules, norms, principles. What kind of Asia Pacific are we building? What are the common interests and common values that we see being evolved? So today in part 1, as I suggested to you, we will look at the complex international security environment and architecture. So I'd like to get started with the remarks by the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who just left her position as a Secretary of State, who I think defines very eloquently the new world that we have just entered. It is much more complex and cross-cutting, and therefore the new architecture or the new security governance that we should be looking at need to be more flexible and more innovative, imaginative, and matching the complexity of the world. In other words, it has to be more dynamic and have a broader mix of materials and structures. So what is this new security environment about? In the past, I think we were in some way relieved of the pressure to define the security environment, because we lived in a very rather simplistic, dangerous but simplistic or black and whitish Cold War. And then we start to talk about a post-Cold War era. Interestingly, every time we security practitioners characterize the security environment, we like to use the term war. World War I, post-World War I, World War II, Cold War, post-Cold War. Well, hopefully we will one day be able to characterize our security environment with different terms. Not war, maybe more to do with peace or opportunities or prosperity. There's already talk about a possibility of a new Cold War between the United States and China, but most of us here believe that that's not what we are entering in the region or in the world today. Again, we have heard many statesmen in the United States and China in the region caution against a new type of a Cold War, and there is no need for a Cold War to happen. I'm personally much more comfortable with the term, for example, of Asian century. And that is, I think, something that we can all relate to, because increasingly there is a realization of the importance of the Asia-Pacific in terms of its economic contribution, diplomatic, political, and including its role in the world scene of international relations. But again, when we talk about Asian security, I think we have to be also careful not to be exclusive, because Asia doesn't exist without very close collaboration with other parts of the world. Here are some issues that we're starting to grapple in the new security environment that are important for us to understand before we come to the course, or maybe perhaps before we walk into the new facilities of the Asia-Pacific Center. We'd like to maybe share some perspectives between ourselves. One of the tension points today in the new security environment is between the so-called traditional and non-traditional security challenges. Again, the Cold War and the bipolar world were characterized by this military focus and military emphasis, but increasingly the world is looking at a wider range of security issues. Therefore, we like to talk about comprehensive security here. The comprehensive security goes much beyond the traditional military. It is about economic issues, it's about environmental issues. When you come here, you will be polled through our electronic survey to see what are your security priorities. From our experience of previous courses, I can tell you that increasingly our participants recognize economic, social, and cultural and other security issues are of more concern than the traditional state-to-state tensions and issues. The second trend I think that we are witnessing is the increased role of the non-state actors. And they are becoming a very noticeable force in shaping the security environment, both in positive terms through the increased participation of the business sectors and NGOs, but also in the negative terms through unfortunate activities of the terrorist and transnational security organizations. Another interesting trend in the new security environment has to do with the relationship between external and internal security challenges. In the past, it was rather easy to distinguish between external and internal security issues. And that also explained how our security doctrines would evolve and how our job responsibilities would be shaped. The police or law enforcement people would be dealing with internal security, whereas defense was primarily responsible for external security issues. Today, in a much more globalized and interdependent world, this distinction between external and internal security issues has faded. It's not very clear. For example, is terrorism an external security issue or is it an internal? Oftentimes it's both. What does it mean? It means that we need to broaden our prism understanding security. We need to collaborate better between different agencies if those distinctions are not very clear. The other point I'd like to make is, again, although I will be talking about global and regional security governance, but oftentimes it's very difficult to separate the global from regional or regional from national. What is national today can easily become a regional security issue or a global challenge. The same is true in the reverse order. If you look at the Middle Eastern developments, the so-called Arab Spring was started as an internal national issue, and then very soon it became a regional issue. And then it became a very important global security. And then we see the reverse, some countries talking about a possibility of an Arab Spring happening in other countries. So this interdependence of global, regional, and national security is a reminder to all of us that, again, we have to work closely and make sure that our international and global and national effort are in alignment with each other. And which leads me to an argument which I think is widely shared today, that no country in the world today, even the most powerful, can handle the security challenges by themselves. You look at the United States, and there's hardly any security issue that the United States is capable of handling by itself, whether it's fighting terrorism, where the United States depends on allies and partners, or even when the United States is dealing with its internal economic and financial issues. Again, the future of the United States and its economy depends very much on its partnership and relationship with other countries. This is, by the way, part of the Asia-Pacific rebalancing, or pivot, announced by the Obama administration, which has to do a lot with the performance of the United States economy. And the last point here I would like to make is that comprehensive security requires a very different perspective and approach by the national security agencies, or so-called national security sector. Unfortunately, what we see is that the security sector, or the collection of institutions and personnel in countries of the region or the world, is that often doesn't match the range of the security challenges and threats that the country is facing. So when you come here, we'll be talking in more detail about the security sector preparedness to deal with the comprehensive security challenges and threats and maybe opportunities in the world. But increasingly, we see the importance for development and transformation of the security sectors of the countries and their institutions, so they are capable, they are effective, and they can work with each other. So let me end this first part of my presentation with two questions that I would like you to respond to or comment on, or perhaps raise other questions related to this first part in terms of what is the security environment of the world and the region today. So my first question is, if international cooperation is something that we all believe in, and we believe it is indispensable, why is it that security cooperation is often very challenging? And sometimes countries share, for example, a common concern about terrorism, but their collaboration is not as close as it perhaps could or should be. So what are the challenges to security cooperation that you, from your experience and knowledge, see and would like to share with us? And my second question is, do you think the security sectors of the countries in the Asia-Pacific are well prepared to deal with comprehensive security challenges? I perhaps preempted that question a little bit by my personal opinion that we need to do better, but it doesn't mean that I'm excluding a possible response from you, which suggests that some countries are doing very well and are adaptable and well prepared to deal with security challenges. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention. We look forward to your comments and responses and the feedback, and I'll see you again next week with part 2. Thank you.